Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh.
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny. When you can't tell if a picture is real, AI, or cake. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. Are you referring to the Is It Cake show?
Well, I'm saying that in our generation right now, pictures are usually either fake AI, real, or cake.
Okay.
Because it seems like I'm getting tricked by one or the other. You know what I mean?
Totally. So, Trevin.
Yes.
What is your dreadful dilemma this week?
My dreadful dilemma this week ties very closely with what I just said. Emily and I have been having this conversation lately that anytime she shows me something online, we both have to stop and say, is that AI?
Oh, no.
Like, is that real or not? Some of the filters that some people put on their photos are already sort of AI filtery looking.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a real person with a filter, and you're still just like, there's something not real about you.
Yes.
Or it is just a completely 100% generated photo. When we're watching football games and stuff, they say, ooh, does your business need AI? It makes you wonder how many of these posts, when somebody comes up with a hamburger, how many of these people go out and just hire an AI company to photo generate a good ad photo of their burger without actually taking a picture of their burger. So Emily and I are just having the hardest time. Every time we see something, we're just like, is that AI? Now it's getting to the point where I'll hear people's recordings and I'll hear a little weird glitch in their recording. I'm like,
AI.
are they AI? And then I heard a weird glitch in my own recording. I'm like, am I AI? It was frightening.
Oh my God. Trevin, I'm going to be spiraling after this episode for the rest of my life. And honestly, I hate to do this, but I am going to feed into your fear and just confirm it a little bit because I'm not going to out where this person works or who this person is. But I know somebody who works in a place where food is sold. And they recently found out that the photography and the photographer that was working for the restaurant is AI, and they'll tell it like, oh, we're going to have steak and Brussels sprouts or whatever the hell. And AI has been generating the images, so it's not even exactly what they're even doing.
See, and that makes me feel so weird because we'll start to see one every few posts, one, until they all become it, and then our eyes get used to it. Like, would you ever play an old video game, like an old Super Nintendo game or something? And when you were a kid,
just did that the other day with Jordan.
When you were a kid, you were like, man, this looks so real. It's so cool. They have a character that looks just like the hero. And then you fast forward 10 years and then go back and play it and you say, oh, this looks like hot shit. This is gross.
I had to squint for a while when looking at it because I was like, this is so pixely and harsh. And it took me probably a good 15 minutes just to adjust to the old video game when we watched it. Yeah.
Our eyes are going to get used to the AI look until eventually we're going to forget. But when I was thinking more about that, you see the older generation and stuff, and you still hear when somebody's like, those commies are trying to do this, or, just about anything's a communist because for the last 50 years, they've been afraid of them.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking our generation, we're not going to be like that. We're not going to get old and be really afraid of anything because what am I afraid of? Our generation isn't afraid of something.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it.
AI.
If I'm 50 or 60 years old and my kid shows up and it's just like, oh, we're learning from AI, I'd be like, no, not AI. We're not doing that. So if you were to tell me the Russians are all just a bunch of AI, I'd be scared or something like that because I think they're already here.
I'm with you. I think that AI, it's something that we should all have a healthy fear of.
Yeah. I saw a thing earlier today, though, that said we shouldn't be afraid of AI. We should be afraid of the corporations that control AI. After I heard that, I thought, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. What are they using it for?
Yeah.
That is far darker, I'm sure.
I don't think AI is going to learn something and then want to kill me. I think it's the people that are in AI's pockets. It's just a theory,
A terrifying one. I also have a dreadful dilemma. So this weekend, I traveled out of town to go to my grandmother's 90th birthday party. Yes, I said it. That is 90.
That is so cool.
So shout out Grandma. She's not listening to the podcast. She tried to, and then she panicked because she couldn't find out how to turn us off. And then she said we just kept playing and playing and playing. So I don't know if she'll ever listen again. I think it kind of terrified her, but that's fine.
I find this show terrifying too.
So I was out of town, and it was in a city that I was raised close by. So I'm in the city and I'm seeing all these familiar places from my past. And this is another great example of good marketing, but I immediately started singing the theme song that I heard all the time on the radio, on the TV. Every single time I heard it as a kid, it just like flooded right back into my brain. And I was like, at Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, Hog Wild, get some for you. And don't be late, we close at 8.
Oh, that's like a small store then. I thought you were going to sing like Chili's Baby Back Ribs or something that like everybody would know.
No, this is a local place that really had a catchy ass little theme song.
I love that.
So Hog Wild Pit Barbecue is what it's called. It's just dreadful to me that that's still immediately stuck in my head, even as an adult.
Well, Hog
and I
Wild
don't live
can
there.
get it.
I guess.
I love theme songs and stuff like that. Do you remember when we used to work together and the safety department came up with the theme song for their new way of trying to have less accidents at work?
How do I not remember this?
You don't remember the No Escape song?
Oh my God, it's all coming back to me.
Our old work used to have this thing what they did for a little while called the No Escapes program. And basically, anytime a quote unquote escape happened, it was like an unsafe act escaping your control or something. So they made a little music video.
In little skits.
And there was like little figures that were the escapes. And then this little music would come on. It had a very kind of cheesy rock guitar sound, and then it went to a synthesizer sound. So it would go, no escapes. And then a keyboard would come in and go, do, 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 do. No escapes.
Do, 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 right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. How did I forget about that?
One of the corporate guys was in town doing the safety stuff, and I was like, dude, you're the guy from the No Escapes music video. This was after they fired you.
Okay, I'm like, what?
And he's like, yeah, they let me bring my guitar in for one day, and I just kind of recorded the theme while on the clock. And I was like, that's awesome. And then the guy was like, do you make music too? And then he took me out to dinner. So.
What? You went on a dinner date with No Escapes?
I did.
Oh my God.
In Briarcliff, like the fancy place.
Did he pay?
He did.
What?
I had drinks, an appetizer, and a dessert.
Was he trying to date you?
He might have been, but he probably could have. I think my bill alone was probably at $200.
And then you just never saw this guy again.
Oh, we stayed in contact. We emailed, but things just kind of drift apart.
Wow. I never knew that story. I feel a little shook.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, though. He's from Canada.
Oh my God, I love Canadians.
Me too.
Oh, wow. We digress. So for today's segment, we are going to be sharing some killer facts.
Hello?
We've traced the facts. They're coming from inside the house.
Killer facts.
And it is my week to go off, Queen.
Go off.
So I am coming from historicmysteries.com, and I'm going to tell you about the Royal Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians and the Immortal Baby.
That is a mouthful.
So have you ever heard of the Royal Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians?
No, Trevin, can't say that I have.
I'll be doing a lot of reading directly from this website because I have a feeling if I try to go off on my own words here, I'm going to end up losing myself.
Okay.
The Royal Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians was basically a cult. And they were led by a man named James Bernard Schaeffer. Much of James Bernard Schaeffer's early life is unknown. We know that he was born in 1896 in Fargo, North Dakota. He earned a medical degree in the University of Michigan, and he was interested in metaphysics. Metaphysics is a branch of philosophy centered around abstract concepts like being, time, space, cause, identity, knowing, and substance.
Ooh.
Basically, it's just abstract theories that don't really come to anything. He was also a member of the KKK.
Oh, God.
But he ended up starting this cult in the 1930s. It was a bunch of people that believed you could kind of think things into existence. One belief of theirs was that meat, coffee, smoking, alcohol, spices, and condiments were all bad for you, so you couldn't really have any flavor in your life, and you had to have a vegetarian diet as designed by him. He called himself the messenger as well.
Okay, guys.
He said that he could read minds and cure any illness someone had, and could dematerialize any person or thing that he wanted. Another core belief of the group was that all illness, mental or physical, and even death was caused by, quote, destructive thinking. The Royal Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians firmly supported the idea that positive thoughts can solve all problems. Now you kind of get what they do. In 1939, Schaefer and his group intended to raise a baby and make it immortal.
A real baby?
Yes.
Oh.
It seemed ridiculous to everybody but the Royal Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians. They already had a child selected for the role of their eternal leader, and it was a baby named Jean Gaunt.
Whose baby was this?
If you've ever heard of immortal baby Jean, this is who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Gaunt's mother, Catherine Gaunt, said that she was too poor to afford to raise a little girl and allowed Schaefer to raise her. In the early 20th century, having a family member or friend raise a child other than your parents was common. But Catherine was not a member of the cult and appeared to give her baby away to a random man. The Royal Fraternity of Master Metaphysicians did not legally adopt baby Jean, but they took her to their mansion on Long Island. So with all the money that all of his members paid to be in the cult, he was able to buy the former Vanderbilt mansion with 110 rooms.
110?
They called it Peace Haven. For the first 3 months of this child's life, they had complete control over it, and it lived in this house. They intended to raise baby Jean in a particular way that they said would make her immortal. The group planned that her immortality would be activated by never mentioning death or disease in the child's presence. She would not be exposed to a single bad or destructive thought, and only kind words would be spoken in her presence. Jean would consume a diet of all vegetarian, quote, eternity diet that followed similar guidelines as those dietary recommendations that members received weekly from Schaefer. And as she grew older, she would be taught about alcohol, tobacco, coffee, spices, tea, mustard, and vinegar, but she would never consume them.
I'm just trying to picture, just as a mom myself, just a mom in the world, you know, raising a child and never having them ever hear a negative thought or word spoken. Like, what?
Yeah, their whole metaphysical thing, which I don't know if I made it super clear, they just believe that the negative thoughts are what allow it. So if we just talk about like, oh, I'm going to die one day, if we just agree that it's going to happen, we're allowing it to happen.
Right.
So if this baby doesn't know death is a thing, the baby would never know to die,
Yeah.
apparently.
Oh, my God. It's just that easy.
The immortal baby experiment lasted only 15 months before baby Jean was handed back to her parents. The truth behind Jean's return to her parents' custody was that Jean's mother demanded the baby return to her. She began to worry about what the group was doing to her child and was justifiably creeped out at how much like a cult the group seemed. Wah. Schaefer never legally adopted Jean, so he was forced to return her. But he did drag the mom's name through the mud and told a lot of terrible things about her. Basically poked fun of her for not having the money to take care of her kid. And it's like, well, you couldn't take care of your kid, so you're the one who sucks.
Damn.
The kid grew up, and they said back in 2002 they had checked up with her and she was alive and well, and she ended up having a normal life, luckily.
What in the world? That is bizarre for so many different reasons. But guys, please, if you're ever a part of a group and the leader decides to give themselves a new name, a weird name like the Messenger,
Yeah.
strike one. Okay, that's bad. Then if there's these beliefs and the way you eat and then the way you live and then you're in a commune and then you all live together and you're always, always, always with each other. Wow, yeah, that is culty.
Yeah, if something doesn't feel right and it goes against your gut, you should probably trust it.
But I'm glad that girl is okay. I thought you were going to tell me something horrible.
No, I mean, and when I was a little kid, I used to have weird thoughts like that too. Like, oh, what if you had a baby and it just never knew something existed? Like, I always said, what if you raised a kid and you treated it like, oh, you can't have your vegetables. Those are too good for you. And they're like, wait, no, I really want them. And they thought vegetables were a dessert. So then when they get older, they're like, I'm going to eat my vegetables all the time.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, fuck yeah, it worked.
Then reality hits, and then the outside world tells them how wrong they are, and then they resent the parent.
But also, we we pump all of our actual desserts with chemicals that make us addicted to them too. So no matter what you say, it won't match the power of addictive substances.
My God. So, Trevin, I also have a killer fact. So I got my killer fact from multiple articles, Insider.com and Atlas Obscura.
Love that site.
We love them. We love them. There was another one I glanced at, but those were the two that I kind of gathered info from. Today, I will be telling you all about a restaurant in India called the New Lucky Restaurant. Familiar at all, Trevin?
Not at all.
I was going to say probably not. That's pretty far away from here. The restaurant serves everything from sandwiches and soups to curries, fried rice, and noodles. However, these dishes aren't what it is remembered for. Owner Krishnan Kutty bought land before knowing it was on top of an old cemetery. Instead of moving the graves, he decided to build his restaurant around them.
Yeah, don't disrupt them. Yeah.
Yes, don't disrupt them. But also, did the restaurant have to go there? I'm actually really fascinated by this story because I wonder about these things quite often. Because there's a little cemetery that's right next to a Red Lobster, not far from this area. And I always wonder, they're just going to keep building businesses over there. So anyway, let me keep going here. The restaurant features 12 coffins, and they are believed to be remnants of an old Muslim cemetery, but no one is 100% sure. The coffins are separated from diners by white metal fences and are cleaned and adorned with fresh flowers daily. The owner believes it is good luck to dine around the dead. Hence the name, the New Lucky Restaurant. It has been a popular local hangout for over 50 years now.
Whoa.
I'm going to show you a picture and we'll post a picture, but I just want you to get a vibe of this place. How do you feel about that, Trevin? Would you ever eat there?
I would maybe. I guess what I need to see. So when you say a coffin in the middle, you're talking like one of those cement mausoleum coffin thing?
It's hard to tell. I guess it never really said what they're made of, but I saw in multiple articles they compared them to sarcophagi. They're covered and there's just like a little gate around them, and you literally just sit at a table right next to them.
I would eat there.
Yeah.
I think I
yeah.
would. It would freak me out to a certain extent, but I would do it.
Just to say that you did?
It's one of those things where it's close enough without me feeling too scared that I think I could probably still do it. I would feel weird eating around
What if
them.
you were like right there?
It'd be fine. I would be keeping an eye on it the whole time. Out of the corner of my eye, like if you move, I am going to give a 1-star review so strong.
And the food actually did sound pretty good.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Think about how bad that would suck to have a relative be buried.
Oh my God.
And then it's just like, oh, did you hear Red Lobster? They built their next location around the cemetery. And now if you want to see Great Aunt Mindy, you're going to have to get a table in the smoking section.
Dude! In this exact instance, it sounds like the graves are so ancient that no one even knows for sure where they even came from.
Okay.
But the situation that I'm telling you guys about next to the Red Lobster, it might be an older cemetery, but not that old. People still know who those people are.
Damn.
And it's right next door, Trevin. I'm going to have to get a picture.
That's weird.
I've always wondered what would happen. So this is a situation where it happened and he just continued to build his diner anyway.
Yeah, just made it part of a selling point.
I mean, hey, good on you. You bought the land, you know.
Yeah, better get some use out of it.
Oh, man. You know what else I could get more of?
Pancakes.
Or sleep or water, probably. But no, Trevin, in this instance, I mean ads.
Sweet.
Hey, Ann Barner. Hey, Karen Beatty. We need a promo. You know, like where we talk about what we do on our podcast.
On our sugar-coated murder podcast? Like how we love to bake and talk about murder?
That's what we need to talk about.
There you go.
I think we've talked about it. Y'all find us on all your favorite listening apps.
Stay sweet,
And don't murder.
because if you kill people,
We will talk about you.
Welcome back, y'all. I'm going to go first this week, and I have a story that I think we can all relate to, which I feel like I say a lot, but this is one of those things that you wish you didn't have to relate to it, but you do.
Oh, man. An unfortunate relatability.
Yeah,
Okay.
a series of unfortunate relations. So let's just jump on into this one. This will be my first time I've done one from the news that hasn't been recent for a while.
Ooh.
So here we go. How do you feel about monotony? Do we have any pro-monotony listeners out there? Do you wake up experiencing the same things and take a sigh of relief, knowing that nothing interesting will come?
Oh, thank God.
Before I go any further, let's break down monotony a bit. According to Oxford Dictionary, monotony is the lack of variety and interest, or tedious repetition and routine. It's a stretch of having no surprises, tonelessness, flatness. As human beings with finite attention spans and an aversion to all things unappealing, we can find ourselves in these monotonous phases. The world we built for ourselves demands that you find your worth in ways that benefit society. Whether you're a mother caring for your children, a carpenter building homes, or a TikTok influencer using your sex appeal to gain more followers.
Here's some boobies.
We all contribute something to someone, and the need to continue providing that worth is never ending. Our little animal brains weren't meant to do this, working extra hours at a job without seeing returns, or folding clean clothes only to turn around and find a new pile of dirty garments waiting for you. It can leave you feeling trapped in a cycle of productivity. But you can't just quit. People need you, and you need to survive. Our brains, on the other hand, don't give a shit. They want their stimulation, their serotonin. If you're not going to stop giving your time to the man and give a little love to your brain, it's going to peace out. The more you continue with these soulless tasks, the more you are doing it without your full attention. You come home to find you left the oven on all day. You complete everyday tasks in the worst way possible. And every Friday at 4:30, you stop and ask yourself, what even happened this week? Mistakes pile up, and your quality of work goes down, all in the name of hustle culture. Although we can't change the way our world works, it's important that we take the time to pat our little brains on the squishy back and tell them, you're a good brain. Take it for a little walk. Sit peacefully in one place and let it wander. Or show it naked people on a screen. Whatever you need to do to reconnect with your brain and give it love, you gotta make it a priority. But I know how hard that can be for everyone. Today's tale will introduce us all to a character not much different from ourselves. A driven professional with high hopes and even higher stress. So let's not keep him waiting. Wayne was a 46-year-old burglar living in Hollywood, Florida. He had many jobs during his years in the workforce, but none measured up to his new career in burgling. No uniform, no set schedule, no need to bathe before going in. It was the perfect trade. And after 2,000 hours of on-the-job training, he could get promoted from residential to commercial, a higher tax bracket of burglars. For once, Wayne had a lust for life he had never felt before. There were things to look forward to and a future to plan for. He spent his evenings studying his commercial burgling pre-test workbook, planning future homes to rob, and cooking meals that would help lower his cholesterol. It was his time to thrive as the male boss babe he was always meant to be.
Wake up with a goal every day.
But by the time Wayne reached his first 90 days on the job, the new and shiny feelings that came with each completed burgle started to fade. Scoping out new targets lost its fun after finding most people lived worse off than him.
This feels wrong.
The paperwork was tedious, and the other burglars in town picked on Wayne for being the new guy.
Well, if it isn't the turd burglar.
Every time his burgling alarm went off on his phone, Wayne sighed to himself, feeling less and less willing to go in. 3 months after that point, Wayne was completely lost to the grind of it all. He had no longer kept up with the things that interested him, as his time had been divided into 3 categories: work, sleeping for work, and dreading work. At the end of every work week, he would check in with himself, completely forgetting the stretch he just completed, only to mentally fast forward to Sunday night, asking him the same thing about the weekend. He began leaving his salt shaker in weird spots and forgetting people's birthdays. His life was a mess, but at least he was making a paycheck. Another night of burgling was upon Wayne as he got up from his couch. Another day of going to my stupid job to keep a roof over my stupid head, he yelled looking over to the ukulele across the room. Well, girl, it looks like another weekend that I didn't get around to writing that album. He looked down, remembering the dream he put on hold all those years ago. I wanna quit my job, but then I get hungry and I go back. Why do I do this to myself? I guess I'm just gonna cry. A short time later, Wayne arrived at the target's apartment. This was a very familiar building for him, as their front door code was easy to remember, and their residents always seemed to have items of high value. He typed code 6969 into the front door's keypad, confidently walked through the lobby, and hopped into the elevator for the 3rd floor. He had a date with apartment 34C, while its tenant had a date with a yoga studio. With no one around, Wayne pulled out his tools for burgling. What the hell? He said to himself, realizing that he somehow forgot his lucky lockpick at home. Pulling his spare set from his left sock, he unlocked the apartment door and began to step inside. Must have a case of the Mondays, he thought to himself, as he looked for a light switch to the unit. With the lights now on, Wayne could get a full picture of all that was available for him to burgle. He must have forgotten the brief altogether, as none of this looked familiar to him at all. Boy, I am having an off day, he said to himself, taking a sip of coffee from his work thermos. Wayne went on, burgling all of the items of value he wanted. He went through his checklist, starting his burgling process with the living room, and then making his way into the bedroom. He burgled big items, small items, soft items, and rare. But as he was dumping jewelry shelves into his bag, Wayne was interrupted by a call from his wife. Hello?
Can you pick up dinner on your way home?
Sure.
And get the macaroni with the little shells. You know I hate the noodles that are too noodly.
Of course.
And cherry pie.
Got it.
And,
Listen, I'm at work now and I can't talk. I'll get those things on my way home. I love you.
I love you too, but you might also want to pick up ice cream if you're gonna want that with your pie.
Okay, I'll get ice cream too. Goodbye. Wayne threw his phone down on the bed, cursing out loud. Couldn't she see that he was hard at work? Sure, dinner is important, but he was in the office. Wayne tried to shake off the interruption and get back to burgling. He searched for stashed cash, priced the tenant's appliances, and looked for any priceless antiques. The apartment looked properly burgled. If anything of value was missed, it was probably nothing too important. Looks like that'll do it, Wayne said to himself, inconspicuously exiting the apartment and locking the door behind him. On his way out of the apartment, he even saw the tenant arriving at the building. She's about to be in for some surprise, Wayne said to himself, getting into his vehicle. He looked over all the items of value he had stolen and put in his car. On the way home, he thought about the burgle job, quickly remembering he needed to stop at the store to get dinner. He reached down to his side, feeling no bulge in his right pocket. His ass nearly leapt out of his pants. Holy fuck! I left my phone at work, Wayne screamed in his car, driving past the store and directly home. After pulling into his driveway, Wayne busted through his front door to find his wife. Honey, I need to borrow your phone.
Did you get the macaroni?
No.
With the little shells?
No.
Well, what about the cherry pie?
Honey, I left my phone at work.
Oh my god!
Don't worry, I have a plan to fix everything.
So you're saying you didn't see my text about making it a Neapolitan instead of vanilla?
Wayne stepped around his wife and picked up her phone. He unlocked her phone with the passcode 6969 and dialed the number to his cell phone. The artificial ring went on, each space between feeling like an eternity. Just like the amount of time Wayne kept telling himself he'd be behind bars. The rings went on until they abruptly stopped. Hello? A gruff male voice answered the phone. Expecting it to be the young lady who lived at the house, Wayne went on thinking it could have been a helpful neighbor or something. Hello there, Wayne said. My phone was recently stolen, and I don't know where it is. Did you find it? A long, uncomfortable silence waited on the other line until the man came back. Sure. Yes, we found your phone. What's your name? My name is Wayne. Wayne Wade, Wayne said, with a tear in his eye, eager to be reunited with his phone. Why don't you come down to the neighborhood apartment building and we can get your phone back to you? The man on the other line said, winking so hard you'd think you could hear it over the phone. On August 4th of 2014, 46-year-old man Wayne Wade burgled an apartment in Hollywood, Florida. After successfully pulling off the residential heist, Wayne returned home to find he had left his phone at the scene of the crime. Instead of taking his chances with the lost cell, Wayne called his phone, attempting to have it returned. Detectives investigating the break-in heard the phone ringing and answered the call. Wayne gave the officers his name and a story of how his phone was stolen. As he was on the way to get his lost piece of technology, officers were able to match the fingerprints on his phone to prints left at the scene. Once arrested, those prints were also matched up with prints left at 5 other burglaries. Wayne Wade was arrested on burglary and grand theft charges for the main break-in. The additional 5 robberies connected to him were yet to be filed at the time of the articles, with no follow-ups provided. Do you see what I mean now? I'm sure you can think of a time where you also put your needs on hold for a great opportunity. At the beginning of this year, I put way too many things on my plate. I was editing multiple shows, trying to grow my own, and still keeping up with all the other extracurricular activities. It was a bit of a mess. Mistakes were made, plans were skipped, and I drained all of the PTO for my main job on mental health days. It wasn't until the end of August that I realized this wasn't the way to be. I dropped my extra shows and focused more on my happiness. So let the story of Wayne Wade be a cautionary tale for all of you. Whatever the opportunity is that presents itself, don't forget that you are more than your goals and accomplishments. Don't forget about you, whether it's health goals, business opportunities, art projects, or anything else that you consider to be important. If you don't take care of that brain that makes these plans possible, it's not going to take care of you. As your friend and petty crime writer co-host, I want to see all of you succeed. So next time you're caught up in the grind, remember my words and Wayne's actions. Take a little time to feel joy. And for God's sake, make sure your phone is in your pocket before leaving the scene of the crime.
You were having way too much fun saying burglin.
Yeah. I think I said a form of burgle somewhere in almost every paragraph.
Burgle, burglin, burglar. I cannot believe that one mistake led them to all of those other crimes.
I know.
What a dum-dum.
I probably would have written that way differently had he not been tied back to 5 more. But
yeah.
I was thinking if there's a quote, I don't even remember what the quote is exactly. It was a Ted Bundy quote.
Oh, God.
It was like a really cynical quote that he had said, and it was something like, once you do enough murders, you kind of get used to it, and sometimes you forget a hammer behind or something like that.
Oh, God.
And he had said that. I don't remember if it was in an interview or if it was on the stand. I don't know, but
yeah.
I've always thought about that quote. That's true. You do anything enough, you kind of go into autopilot, and there's certain steps that you forget when you do.
Yeah.
So I thought if Ted Bundy could make that quote that connected it to something as serious as that, I imagine that it probably plays the same for petty criminals too.
Oh, 100%. I loved how you were talking about his work thermos, and I left my phone at work, his alarm going off, and all the things. It wasn't like you would expect.
Yeah, I definitely made burglin sound like a trade.
Yeah.
Because I said 2,000 jobs on the hour, and he can go from residential to commercial.
It honestly sounded like quite the mundane job, the way you described it too. He was getting pretty bored and over it, it sounded like.
Yeah, I mean, burnout happens to all of us.
Even burglars, burgling it up.
There's an episode of one of my favorite shows growing up, Wonder Chosen, where this kid comes on and does this stupid little joke, and he says, "Whoever finds turd burgling funny has obviously never had a turd burgled." And then it's just over and he goes off the screen. And so ever since then, I've just always loved the word burgle and thinking about turd burglars.
Well, you nailed it. You said it in so many ways. And I just kept being like, wow, good for him. I feel like that's a word that I stumble over. So you made it your own and had a moment.
Yeah.
And it didn't give any updates, of course.
No, it didn't give any updates. Nobody cares about a guy
Nobody
who robs
cares.
a house. They just care how he got caught.
And it was the right house or it was the wrong house?
The only reason why I had said that was I was trying to say that he didn't really do his homework and it was the right house.
Okay. Yeah, because the way it was worded, I was like, that wasn't mentioned again at the end. I was just curious. Was it many mistakes this guy made? Like it wasn't even the correct place and he left his phone?
The tricky thing about writing it was I didn't want to focus... Because like what I would normally do is give you a bunch of examples of mistakes. I was going to have a part that he forgot the code to the front door and then remembered it.
6969.
Yeah. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. Because I thought if I put too much in there, people are going to think that there were a bunch of other things that I can add to the story. So I was like, no, I'm just trying to say that he was having a really off day.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify because it wasn't said again. Wow, what a time.
They did say that the person who lived there actually did pass him as he was leaving, but she didn't know that he had robbed her at the time.
Oh my God.
So that was why I had put that in the story. I didn't put it in the recap because it really doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
But they did actually cross paths on his way leaving from robbing her.
I can just imagine having all my stuff stolen and then finding this phone, this clue, and then having the person literally call me and be like, oh, happen to find a telly over there. I'd be like, okay, you little shit.
What a stupid move. Like, even if your phone did get stolen, the coincidental time of which you are calling, it just seems a little suspicious.
Yeah, like, come on. And when you said he was winking over the phone, that was genius. I love that little touch. And I love that you gave me lines. Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought when we did the Review Queen story, I gave you a lot more lines as a character. We've been kind of playing around with that more.
Yeah.
But I thought we've never straight up just done a scene.
Yeah, I loved it.
So I thought, let's do 2.
We are just little actors.
Always trying things new.
Okay, well, shocker, I also have a story to tell you all. I know. Let's collectively gasp. It is also a story from the news, and it was one that I chose because of the scene of the crime. I wanted to do a story that took place in a certain area. I'm not going to go into details. You'll find out soon enough. So let's just jump right in, and here we go. There are numerous reasons why people love viewing movies at a movie theater. Perhaps some viewers are nearsighted and prefer a larger screen. Whoa. Maybe being in a theater is the closest certain movie buffs will ever get to touching another human.
Scoot a little closer. I won't bite.
But realistically, many of us attend the movies for the popcorn and the soothing voice of Nicole Kidman welcoming us to the theater. We come to this place for magic. Regardless of the why behind a decision to see a feature film in public, the majority of us have participated in this act. But is it possible to attend too many movies? Grab your snacks and dim the lights, because today's petty crime story is rated PG-13 for pettiness. Lindsay and Delilha Harbin were a married couple in their 40s, living in Portage, Indiana in 2013. Delilha accepted Lindsay's flashy style, and Lindsay turned a blind eye towards Delilha's nose-picking. One thing the couple agreed on was their love of seeing films at the cinema. They both loved immersing themselves in a full auditory and visual experience. They would awe over the craft of the actors, marvel over the music, and remained open to feeling every emotion throughout the storytelling.
I'm so sad.
It was also a plus that Lindsay got to wear his freshest attire, and Delilha got to pick and flick her boogers in the peace of the dark. The movie theater was their absolute favorite place to go any day of the week. Since it was the year 2013, the Harbins kept current, seeing all of the latest box office movies. They laughed while watching Identity Thief. They sobbed while watching Safe Haven. And their hearts raced while watching A Good Day to Die Hard. Although they appeared as a normal and lovely pair, the couple's thirst for a new movie was never fully quenched. This need for more cinematography led the Harbins down a bleak path of becoming movie hoppers. What started out as a one-time thrill had become the Harbins' regular night out. The couple would purchase tickets for one movie each and enjoy the entire film. However, afterwards, instead of going home or purchasing another movie ticket, they would hop into another theater for a free double feature. It was a cool February evening when the couple planned their next movie date. Lindsay put on his nicest white dress pants and a bright red shirt paired with a crisp white vest. Delilha finished getting ready, fantasizing about seeing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on the big screen that night. She had already purchased tickets for his latest movie, Snitch, and was thrilled to see him in such a commanding role.
We can't keep snitching like this.
The Harbins arrived early to their favorite movie theater, giving them ample time for buttered popcorn, fountain drinks, and choosing their free second feature. It looks like Warm Bodies? That zombie movie starts right after our movie ends, Delilah whispered to her husband. I could think of something else we can do later to give us warm bodies, Lindsay whispered suggestively back. The two entered their first theater and took their seats. They were enthralled with The Rock's powerful performance and the gripping storyline of him saving his son. But mainly, Delilah just couldn't get over the size of the man's biceps on screen. Yes! Once the movie was over, the Harbins quickly stood up and walked towards their next theater. Looking over their shoulders, they entered the nearby theater for the unlikely zombie romance flick, completely free of charge. They had made it in just in time for previews of other teenage forbidden love stories and got comfortable in their seats. Just as the previews finished and the overhead lights turned completely off, two security guards appeared at the entrance, illuminated from the beginning credits on the screen. They walked towards the couple, bending down to ask them a serious question. Can we see your movie tickets, please? With no other ticket and being caught in the act of movie hopping, Delilah confessed, saying, I know we done wrong. On February 26th of 2013, 49-year-old Lindsay Harbin and 40-year-old Delilah Harbin tried to sneak into a second movie for free at the IMAX Theater in Portage, Indiana. The couple was seen innocently purchasing tickets for the movie Snitch, featuring The Rock, by two off-duty cops working security that night. However, they were also spotted sneaking into the Warm Bodies Theater immediately afterwards without a ticket. One security guard stated that he caught the pair by recognizing the man's very colorful clothing, including a white vest, white dress pants, and a bright red shirt. While the second cop said he thought that the Harbins had previously attempted to sneak into the movies without paying for tickets before. Shortly after previews had ended, both officers approached the Harbins in the theater, asking for their tickets. Delilah confessed immediately, stating, I know, we done wrong. Security then requested that they exit the theater and took them into custody. The Harbins were transported to the Porter County Jail, where they were booked on felony counts of theft of services, were given trespassing warnings, and were later released on their own recognizance. While booked, the pair reportedly advised that they had snuck into the movies at the movie complex 3 to 4 other times. They also claimed they were at a funeral all day and were just not thinking correctly. In an email to the Huffington Post, Portage Police Sergeant Keith Hughes explained that theft of services is the normal charge for someone caught sneaking into a movie. He was quoted saying, I seriously doubt that they will serve any time, but the felony charge is punishable by 1 year or more in jail. There is something so magical about going to the theater. But perhaps there really is such a thing as seeing too many movies. I encourage you all to attend the cinema with caution and consideration in mind, because you never know when you may become the villain in your own feature film.
The old funeral defense. We're at a funeral all day and not thinking straight.
Yeah, that part really caught me off guard as well.
Weak ass excuse.
Also, you can't confess to sneaking into the movie 3 to 4 times previously and then say, but this time was because of a funeral.
Yeah.
Both of those things cannot exist. I mean, they can.
They can, but...
They can exist, but it doesn't look good for you.
Yeah, once a movie sneaker, always a movie sneaker.
I did want to point that out, that the husband, even in his mugshot, you can see a tiny bit of the red and the white, but he is dressed in a really memorable outfit. Also, one of the security guards did say that he thought he had seen them there before, sneaking into theaters.
I didn't know that was the actual punishment. That's a bit much. I've never heard of somebody actually getting caught for it and maybe having to do that.
No, I mean, I did this as a teenager. I'm sure most of us have. A lot of the articles that I read, the gripping headline was like, they were charged a felony, you know, for this. And that is kind of shocking. But when they explained it, it says they're probably not going to get in a whole lot of trouble. But just the idea of it saying felony for something so simple as that is a little scary.
Yeah, it kind of feels like somebody's just throwing the book at them to make an example of you, which I think is such a terrible way of doing things.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's going to get their life changed over something very dumb. Imagine if they didn't have money for a good lawyer and they actually did go to jail. That would be so terrible.
Right. That would be so idiotic. I guess I've been kind of on this era of being like, these people are being in trouble for way too little. I don't know what has happened to me. I don't know why those stories have been just really pulling at me lately, it seems like. But it was another one of those things.
Yeah, you've been following a lot more misunderstood criminals and
Yeah,
petty, but you're standing up for them.
Yeah. And I get it. They shouldn't have done it. And obviously I made up that she was a booger picker, you know, whatever. But they seemed like a fine couple that just wanted to sneak into a lot of movies and not have to pay. I mean, it is expensive.
Oh, God, it is.
It's expensive AF. So, I mean, I can't hate on them too hard. I mainly chose the story because I thought it was kind of just a silly, ridiculous situation overall.
Yeah, a totally silly, dumb thing that I feel like us and most of our listeners could say that they've probably done it at least once.
Dude, like, come on. I mean, you were just talking about how you were in a theater and it was that weird infinity pool.
Yeah, Infinity
Pool. Huh. Yes. You were talking about how you saw Infinity Pool and a bunch of teenagers snuck in.
Yeah, and they saw the weird stuff.
Yeah. And that probably taught them a lesson for life.
Yeah, although if it was me, I'd be like, I'm going to start sneaking into more stuff, see what else I see.
So you saw the Die Hard movie.
All the things you listed, I saw Die Hard and I saw Warm Bodies. I didn't see most of the other stuff on there. I don't think I saw Switch or whichever. Snitch. I never watched that one. I don't like The Rock that much.
I never saw this one either. It was one that was more serious. He was like an undercover detective guy trying to save his son from like a drug deal or something, is what I gathered.
Yeah.
But the only one I saw was Warm Bodies. I did see Warm Bodies.
Yeah, which actually was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, actually, it kind of makes me want to rewatch that one sometime.
Go for it.
But yeah, so that's kind of weird looking back at 2013 to seeing what was the top movie choices. They were all a little bit corny, in my opinion, a bit.
Yeah, not a lot of good ones there. I'm sure the Best Picture was probably pretty good. Maybe that was Birdman year. I'm not sure. Yeah, sneaking into theaters is a lot of fun. I always enjoyed doing it. I haven't done it in a very long time. I actually kind of am against it now because I don't like when you go see two movies in the same day and then those movies are always linked together. My memory of this movie is always driven by this movie. And then forever, I'll always think of them relative to each other.
Do you really?
Like as a kid, we went and saw Big Daddy, and then we snuck into Wild Wild West.
Okay.
And I can't think of one without thinking of the other.
That is so weird because I think I snuck in just to see something real quick. I never actually watched both, but I saw double features at the drive-in all the time.
Oh, yeah. But I always still remember those back to back.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
See, I don't. Huh, that's interesting.
Back when the first Purge came out, my friend Tyler and I went and saw, I guess we got the time wrong on our tickets. And we're like, oh, what are we going to do? We'll just sneak into something else and watch something else for a little bit. So we snuck into the movie Mud. It was a Matthew McConaughey movie when he was first making his comeback by doing independent films.
Oh.
And that movie was good. That movie slapped. And we were probably like 30, 40 minutes into it. And Tyler and I looked over each other and like, this movie's really good. And we're like, I know. The Purge is about to start. And we're like, Purge is going to be so good. We're doing ourselves a disservice not going. So let's go see The Purge.
Yeah.
We went and saw The Purge and we were like, I actually didn't even like that movie. I wish we would have stayed in Mud.
So, connections.
Oh, that's a tough one. Both of our people are going into places they're not supposed to.
That's the only one I
don't
could
like
think
that.
of. I hate it. I
Uh-oh.
have one.
Okay.
Both of our stories dealt with people that had been doing this crime now on repeat, at least for a while. And they were starting to get comfortable, okay? And got a little forgetful, got a little noticeable, and got their asses caught.
It wasn't their first rodeo.
Not their first rodeo.
Okay, yeah, I like that. They're seasoned professionals just slipping up.
Slipping up, making mistakes, getting caught. You can't get too comfortable out there
No.
in the petty crime field.
Like I was saying about doing something enough and you start to make mistakes. It's like, if I was going to go rob a house right now, do you know how careful I would be? I'd like count my steps. I'd make sure nothing got turned.
Yeah, you wouldn't wear a white vest with a red shirt underneath it.
Yeah. When you rob 10 houses or when you sneak into so many movies, you're not that careful who sees you. You get cocky.
Exactly. And that's what they did.
Mistakes have been made.
What a week. I hope that everyone is having the best time. And just remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed to make immortal babies.
Bye.
See ya.
I hope for you guys it's our theme song that gets stuck in your head instead of a barbecue one. Thank you so much for listening to our show this week.
And what double feature have you snuck into that makes you think of both movies together? Find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or Threads, and let us know what you saw.
And tell us about the creepiest restaurants you've dined in. Send us your stories to livelaughlarceny@gmail.com.
And give us 5 stars wherever you rate your podcast, Apple, Spotify, or Good Pods. I don't even care if you use AI. As long as it's 5 stars, just do it. I wanna quit my job, but then I get hungry and I go back. Why do I do this to myself? I guess I'm just gonna cry. This place, it really sucks. Why is the world such a cold and dark place? I should get paid to be happy. Seriously, my boss wouldn't care if I died.